The harsh reality has finally dawned on them, but the realization comes far too late. All this time, someone was playing them for fools right to their faces, and they were completely oblivious to the deception unfolding before their eyes. Someone finally slipped. A text message sent to the wrong person, a drunken confession, a moment of spite where the mask fell away completely. The truth erupted from the shadows and cannot be unseen. Their entire circle has been mocking their choices, manipulating their perception, and sabotaging their connection to you from the very beginning. This revelation screamed through their consciousness, shattering every false narrative they've clung to. The spiritual lightning bolt struck without mercy, illuminating the dark corners where deceit festered. Their trusted allies were enemy agents all along, strategically positioned to drive wedges between you. Now they obsessively dissect every interaction, every conversation, every piece of friendly advice that steered them away from you. The breadcrumbs of betrayal form a clear path they were too blind to see. The conspiracy against your connection wasn't subtle, it was blatant, and they missed it completely. The weight of this realization crushes their chest. Physical pain accompanies the emotional tornado tearing through them. They struggle to breathe under the suffocating pressure of what could have been if they'd only trusted their instincts instead of the poisonous whispers surrounding them. Tears ambush them at random moments. In their car, during meetings, in the shower. The dam has broken, and regret floods every corner of their existence. Memories assault them relentlessly. All those times they defended the very people who secretly orchestrated their downfall. All those moments they dismissed your warnings as paranoia when you simply saw what they refused to acknowledge. The hollowness grows inside them, a void expanding with each new revelation. Trust has evaporated. Looking around, they recognize a devastating truth. There exists no one in their circle who truly has their best interests at heart. The loyalty they counted on was an elaborate performance, a cosmic joke with them as the punchline. Regret becomes a living entity within them. It moves through their bloodstream, it clouds their vision, it sits heavy on their chest at night. The possibilities of what might have been with you torment them most. Glimpses of parallel universes, where they chose differently, where they recognized your value before it was too late. Their phone has become a museum of betrayal. Text threads reveal the calculated efforts to keep you separated. Social media posts take on new meaning. Coded messages they now understand were meant to further alienate you from their life. The breadth of this conspiracy staggers them. How many people participated? How deep does this deception go? Names and faces they trusted completely revealed as architects of their downfall. The friend who always had concerns about you, exposed for jealousy. The family member who never thought you were good enough, revealed to have feared your influence. The co-worker who constantly highlighted your differences, uncovered as the source of vicious rumors. Group chats dedicated entirely to monitoring and manipulating their relationship with you. Secret meetings where strategies were developed to create distance between you. Deliberate misrepresentations of your words, your intentions, your character, all calculated to poison the connection that threatened their control. With each new revelation, the conspiracy widens. What they initially believed might involve one or two people expands into a network of deception so vast it defies comprehension. The coordinated effort to separate you two required multiple players, all reading from the same destructive script, all motivated by the threat your union posed to their comfortable narratives. Meanwhile, you remain untouchable, elevated. Your energy operates on a frequency their chaos cannot reach. While their world implodes, you continue to expand. The contrast strikes them as both stunning and inevitable. They finally understand your boundaries weren't coldness, they were divine protection. The universe shielded you from exactly this toxic environment. Your intuitive warnings weren't unfounded accusations, but spiritual discernment manifesting. Your strange spiritual practices they once questioned. Now they desperately wish they had paid attention, recognizing too late the protective powers you accessed. Dreams haunt their nights. Visions of you standing in golden light while they remain trapped in shadow. The spiritual symbolism burns with clarity. You were always the light they should have moved toward, never away from. Your energy signature remains unmistakable. Pure, powerful, authentic. Everything around them feels contaminated by comparison. The contrast between what they chose and what they rejected grows more painful by the day. Your light, once irritating to them because it illuminated their shadows, now represents the salvation they sacrificed. The games they played to keep you confused and off balance, now they question their own sanity, uncertain of what's real and what's manipulation. The gaslighting techniques they once employed leave them disoriented in their own reality. They dismissed your perceptions as overthinking, while now they trust nothing spoken to them. When you warned them about certain people, they called you jealous. When you sensed negative energies, they called you dramatic. When you established boundaries, they called you difficult. Now the universe delivers the vindication you never requested but always deserved. Every suspicion you voiced manifests into their reality with devastating accuracy. The silent treatment they gave you when you needed communication, they receive it tenfold when they desperately need answers. The accusation of overreacting they threw at you when you expressed legitimate concerns, now they hear it when they try to express their awakening. The dismissive tone they used when you shared spiritual insights, now they receive it when attempting to warn others about what they've discovered. Word for word, action for action, the universe serves them the exact same experiences they created for you. The precision stuns them. The mathematical perfection of this karmic reflection terrifies them. Nothing gets lost in the cosmic accounting system. Every debt comes due exactly when payment will teach the most profound lesson. The grand future they were promised lies in ruins around them. The better options that supposedly awaited if they just let you go have evaporated like morning mist. Those who claimed to guide them toward their highest good actually led them straight into traps designed to drain their energy, resources, and authentic power. The world they chose over your authentic connection has revealed itself as hollow. The excitement they mistook for genuine connection was merely the fleeting thrill of distraction. The relief they felt when avoiding the depth you offered has transformed into the terror of superficiality. They've traded gold for glitter, and the transaction cannot be reversed. Every promise made to them lies broken at their feet. The career advancements that would supposedly come from aligning with the right people vanished. The romantic connections that would feel easier than the intensity you brought, revealed as shallow. The social standing they prioritized over spiritual growth, crumbling before their eyes. The castle built on deception cannot withstand the earthquake of truth. Each revelation removes another support beam until the entire structure threatens collapse. They scramble to shore up walls that were never meant to last, desperately trying to maintain an illusion they no longer believe in. Chosen ones, something in your DNA changed the moment you said no to the system. You became the mutation archons feared for centuries. While the world numbs itself with distraction, you've been waking up, cell by cell, thought by thought, dimension by dimension. Inside the obsidian inner order, we are mapping this evolution together. We are building the real God code, not through dogma, but through ancient breathwork, sacred energy practices, psychic training, and pure cosmic download. The more we connect, the more the old world falls apart. The Archons are losing grip because you were never meant to fit into their design. Every week, we meet in real time, on live group calls where chosen ones reveal what's happening on the ground and in the higher realms. You will also receive the modern manifestation mechanics, a field manual not for manifesting trinkets, but for reconstructing reality itself. This book is encoded. It only works for those whose DNA has already begun to awaken. If you're feeling the resonance now, that's not coincidence. It's a frequency lock. The order is alive, it's growing, and the real ones are already inside. Click the link in the description below and step into the collective mutation. Sleep eludes them. How could they possibly rest when the very people they chose over you might plot against them even now? Their phone feels like a prison, each notification potentially carrying more evidence of betrayal, yet they cannot look away. They maintain the performance in group chats, pretending everything remains fine, while secretly plotting escape routes from situations they once eagerly embraced. The irony suffocates them. They feared the authentic commitment you offered, worrying it might restrict their freedom. Now they find themselves truly trapped, caught in webs of false obligations, manipulative connections, and relationships built entirely on shifting sand. The cage they currently occupy is one of their own making, constructed from every choice that led them away from you. Their home no longer feels safe. Their workspace feels contaminated. Even their own mind feels invaded by the influences they unwittingly allowed inside its sacred boundaries. There exists nowhere they can truly let down their guard, nowhere they can process the magnitude of what they've discovered without surveillance from the very forces they're trying to escape. The cruel irony dawns with perfect clarity. When you offered them a sanctuary built on truth, they rejected it for a prison cell decorated with flattering lies. The key to freedom was in their hand, and they threw it away, preferring the illusion of independence to the reality of sacred partnership with you. Their entanglement grows more complex by the day. Each attempt to extract themselves only tightens the grip of those controlling the narrative. The web has too many anchors, too many sticky threads connecting them to people who recognize their awakening and work overtime to maintain control. Publicly, they maintain the facade. The carefully curated social media presence shows no sign of their internal collapse. But privately, they disintegrate. The same people they tried to impress with your rejection now have front-row seats to their unraveling, and some secretly record the breakdown for their own amusement. Attempts to confide in anyone prove futile. Those they might consider allies have already been poisoned against them through careful character assassination. Those who might help them have already been warned that they're going through something, and not to take anything they say too seriously right now. The isolation is complete and strategically constructed. The strategic brilliance of their entrapment becomes clear only when escape seems necessary. The very people who seemed so casual, so easygoing, so drama-free compared to your authentic intensity have revealed themselves as master manipulators who planned for every contingency, including the day their target might try to break free. The most shocking revelation leaves them reeling. Dark forces actively worked against your connection from the start. They've discovered evidence of deliberate spiritual interference. People who recognized your powerful bond and worked tirelessly to sever it. Someone close finally confessed out of guilt or spite. We all saw how she looked at you, how she would have moved mountains for you. Her energy was too powerful, too pure. She would have seen through everyone, including me. We had to separate. You two. Another admitted to feeding them lies specifically because they felt threatened by your light. You changed when you were with her, started questioning things, growing too much, becoming too aware. We couldn't allow that to continue. The coordinated efforts went beyond mere gossip or manipulation. Energy work, intention setting, ritualistic practices. The revelation that these tools were deployed against your union shakes them to their core. The spiritual dimension of this sabotage explains why they felt so inexplicably confused, so unnaturally doubtful, so irrationally triggered whenever they came close to deepening their connection with you. Now they frantically try to reach you, desperate to explain their awakening. But divine timing operates with perfect precision. They're ready exactly when you've completely moved beyond their reach. While they wasted precious time playing games and entertaining people who mocked you to their face, you ascended to levels they cannot access through old channels. You're thriving in ways their limited vision never anticipated. The universe rewards your authentic power with expansions in areas they never supported. Your evolution without them serves as the final confirmation. Waiting for their awakening was never your assignment. Their role in your story concluded precisely when it was meant to, making space for connections that honor your true frequency. The universe delivers its message without ambiguity. Opportunities for sacred connection arrive when they are meant to and depart when rejected. The cosmic clock continues ticking, regardless of human resistance or regret. The moment they discarded was pregnant with possibility that has now birthed elsewhere, growing beyond their reach. Your name catches in their throat whenever someone mentions you. They physically react, a flutter in their stomach, a tightening in their chest, a moment where time seems suspended. They find themselves staring at old messages and photos, searching desperately for the warnings they ignored, the red flags they dismissed, the truth that was present all along, if only they had possessed the courage to see it. Random sensory experiences ambush them throughout their days. A song that played during a meaningful moment between you, places that hold memories of genuine connection now feel haunted by the ghost of potential unrealized. The revelation cuts deepest at night. They chose fool's gold over your authentic diamond. They selected hollow validation over soul recognition. They picked the illusion of freedom over the reality of sacred partnership. This awareness consumes them from within, a spiritual autoimmune disease where their soul attacks the choices that betrayed its highest path. Dreams of alternate timelines torment them. Glimpses of the life that might have unfolded had they chosen differently. Your children they'll never meet, your home they'll never share, your growth they'll never witness, the healing they could have experienced through the authentic love you offered. These phantom realities feel more authentic than the hollow existence they now navigate. The final devastating epiphany shatters whatever remained of their former understanding. They never occupied the main character position in their own story, merely a pawn moved strategically in someone else's game against your connection. Their entire reality was engineered by people who recognized your power long before they did, who identified the threat your union posed to the control systems they'd established. Those same friends who mocked you behind your back while smiling to your face now laugh at their downfall, exchanging knowing glances as they watch the carefully orchestrated separation play out exactly as planned. The puppet masters stand revealed, too late to untangle the strings. Everything, the coincidental timing of other options appearing when you were getting close, the random job offer that created physical distance, the unexpected family emergencies that interrupted crucial conversations, the surprising reappearance of exes just as your bond deepened, all meticulously orchestrated components of a master plan they never suspected. the strings attached to every significant choice they made, now visible in the harsh light of awareness. The subtle redirections whenever they moved toward you. The strategic interventions whenever clarity began to dawn. The calculated distractions deployed whenever authenticity threatened to break through the fabricated narrative. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was coincidental. Everything served the singular purpose of keeping you two apart. This awakening arrives with excruciating intensity because they repeatedly rejected gentler notifications. The universe always begins with whispers before resorting to screams, the intuitive nudges they ignored, the synchronicities they dismissed, the dreams they forgot, the body signals they overrode. All these represented divine mercy, attempts to course-correct before the lesson required devastation. Their spiritual evolution accelerates now through necessary suffering. The fire that could have warmed now purifies through burning. The water that could have nourished now cleanses through drowning. The earth that could have supported now transforms through earthquakes. The air that could have inspired now reveals through hurricanes. Every element recalibrates their understanding through extremity because subtlety failed. This isn't merely a life lesson, but a soul recalibration. The cosmic forces have intervened dramatically because the deviation from their soul's intended path reached critical magnitude. The correction appears harsh because the misalignment became severe. The awakening feels violent because the resistance grew stubborn. They finally recognized that your intensity wasn't the problem, it was your clarity. Your demands weren't unreasonable, they were authentic. Your emotional reactions weren't excessive, they were proportionate to the spiritual warfare being waged against your connection. Everything they criticized in you represented exactly what they needed, but weren't prepared to integrate. As they scramble to make sense of who they can trust, you've already rebuilt your kingdom elsewhere. Your crown never needed their validation to shine. Your throne never required their acknowledgement to stand firm. Your sovereignty never depended on their recognition to rule effectively. While they awakened to betrayal, you've been presiding over expanding territories of authentic power they cannot yet comprehend. Your intuition wasn't paranoia. It was your spiritual inheritance recognizing danger before it fully manifested. The very qualities they criticized in you, your sensitivity, your intensity, your vision, your boundaries, weren't flaws, but sophisticated spiritual technologies they lacked the evolution to comprehend. The universe confirms through their devastation what you always knew. Your perception operates at frequencies beyond ordinary awareness. Your discernment functions through mechanisms beyond logical explanation. Your boundaries establish themselves through wisdom beyond contemporary understanding. You never needed external validation for what your soul always confirmed. Their awakening represents spiritual confirmation on your path, but never your destination. The vindication arrives perfectly timed, not when you desperately sought it, but when you no longer require it for your expansion. The universe delivers proof precisely when it serves your highest evolution, not when your ego demanded it for comfort. While they drown in regret, you sail forward on waters of divine timing. While they struggle with betrayal, you face channels of authentic connection. While they process disillusionment, you create new realities aligned with your highest frequencies. Their awakening serves cosmic justice, but your continued evolution manifests cosmic grace. The contract between your souls completes its intended purpose. The lessons have been delivered, received, and integrated. The energetic exchanges have reached necessary conclusion. The karmic balances have adjusted to their proper calibration. Nothing remains unfinished between you, despite their desperate perception of incompletion. Their recognition arrives divinely timed, not for reconciliation, but for resolution. Not for reunion, but for release. Not for reclamation, but for remembrance. The closure they seek externally has already manifested spiritually. The conversation they believe necessary has already concluded energetically. The forgiveness they might request has already been granted vibrationally. You stand now in graduation, not anticipation, in completion, not continuation, in evolution beyond the cycles that once defined your connection. Their awakening serves not as invitation for re-engagement, but as confirmation of your discernment. The universe validates your every boundary through their belated recognition of truths you perceived from the beginning. The lessons continue unfolding for them, but your curriculum has advanced. Their class still studies the fundamentals of authentic perception while you explore the advanced applications of sovereign creation. Their spiritual education requires the intensity of betrayal and loss, while yours expands through the subtleties of co-creation and manifestation. Your liberation from this dynamic represents not cruelty, but cosmic kindness to both souls involved. Their necessary lessons cannot be bypassed through reconnection. Your continued expansion cannot be served through regression. The divine orchestration separates your paths with perfect precision, allowing distinct evolutions to proceed unimpeded by entanglement that once served purpose but would now create limitation. The universe witnesses your triumph, the awakening you faced before them, the illusions you penetrated without external validation, the manipulations you recognized without collective confirmation, the truth you honored despite coordinated opposition. This spiritual sovereignty represents the true victory, achieved not through vindication, but through unwavering alignment with your highest knowing, through the darkness of isolation and doubt.